So you meet with the trustee. What happens? Like how does a trustee go about discovering if you did an accurate accounting of your assets? Like what exactly are their resources? How are they figuring out? Is it all like online? Like are they using certain databases? Like what is their like how are these assets found? If that makes sense.
I mean, all it depends on like what you provide. That's why you have to file tax returns. If your income that you report doesn't match the income in the tax returns, trustee is gonna start asking you questions. They also have their own like sources and like investigators to like check out. Like, if you put the value of the house is only 600,000, they're not gonna just take your word for it. They're gonna go and check it for themselves. And if they discover that, oh, you put it 600,000, but we actually think it's worth $1 million, you can't really hide something like this. With regards to like assets in other countries, it's a little bit harder, but they do have their own ways, of trying to figure out. I mean, they don't get everything. Sometimes they miss stuff. But generally, whatever you put in the petition, they'll compare it to all the documents because you have to submit all of your financial documents to the trustee as well to, verify that what you're putting in the petition. So, for example, if you're doing loss mitigation and you're trying to apply for loan modification, on the loan modification, you're actually trying to show that you have as much income as possible because you want the bank to give you the loan modification. You want the bank to think that you qualify, that your income is high. But then you can't go and, because trustee is going to want a copy of that application and you go and submit to the bank. And not with our cases, but I often see like, because when you appear in bankruptcy court, it's kind of like free for all. Everyone appears at the same time. And you'll often hear the trustee like, well, on the petition you said one thing, but I reviewed your loan modification. You have completely different income there. What's up with that? And then, you'll have to correct it. Generally, you're given a lot of leeway to amend the petition, to correct it. Trustee's not going to, like, go after you if you have, like, some small mistake, even, like, something bigger mistake. All you have to do is just amend the petition and file, your income change or your asset was actually something different. You can amend and file freely, kind of.
And then also, so when you go to the 341 meeting with the trustees, the trustee literally asks you, it's like, do you have any pending suits? Do you have any property you haven't listed here? Do you have, have you listed all your income accurately? Have you listed all your debts accurately? Are you set to receive an inheritance? Are you set to receive any other property? I remember this one meeting I had, 341 meeting. I just happened to be in the room, fly on the wall. And the trustee asked this individual, trustee said, okay, do you have any assets you haven't listed on your petition? He said, oh, I have one, I believe he said, I have one lock, right? So the trustee...
One what?
Lock, right?
What's a lock?
So I'm getting there. And this individual happened to be from South Asia. And so the trustee said, and he did it through an interpreter. And then trustee said, what's a lock? What's a lock? The trustee's going crazy. He wants to know what a lock is. And the interpreter says, 300,000 rupees, right? So the trustee's really mad now because the trustee doesn't know what 300,000 rupees is. It could be, $5 for all the trustee knows. The trustee's like, what's that? What's that? What's that? And then the interpreter says, oh, it's $100,000. And the trustee's eyes just perk up and he smiles because he knows, again, it's like, yeah.
And he gets a commission. Why does he get a commission? And like, would he have gotten that commission if the debtor put that on his petition?
So basically, it depends what bankruptcy or what chapter you file. So it's a Chapter 7 trust. It's a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. There is not $100,000 exemption, right?
Okay.
So but again, it's like if you have $100,000 in certain situations, why are you filing Chapter 7 bankruptcy?
Told our client, you don't file. You have so many assets.
Yeah.
You shouldn't. Like our advice in the case would not even be filing at all. It comes up when they're trying to hide something from us, and then we don't discover that they have assets, and then all of a sudden they get scared because they're also asked, it's under oath. Like you have to say this word, tell the truth, or tell the truth. So whenever you answer the trustee, you're doing it under oath. So you also don't want to perjure yourself. But our advice would be no, don't file because you have so much stuff. But what Peter was you only get commission in, well, not only, but generally just in Chapter 7. The way Chapter 13 gets paid is that he takes 10% of whatever your payments are. So if you're repaying back 100,000 back in arrears, your plan is actually going to be 110,000 because you have to pay the trustee 10% of whatever you're paying back.
And that's also why we tell clients, whatever you do, make sure to make your payments every month, right? Because it could be 100 things going on in your bankruptcy case. It can be convoluted. It could be a very tough situation that needs time for you to disentangle with the creditor. But if the trustee isn't getting paid every month or isn't getting paid on the time, the trustee is very angry because the trustee isn't getting their money. But if the trustee gets their money on time, trustee will generally work with you.
Yeah.
And how many cases a year does a trustee do? It sounds like being a trustee is a good job.
Hundreds of thousands?
But probably most bankruptcy cases get dismissed and not confirmed, I would say.
Yeah.
Especially, but they still get, there's a circuit split actually. In New York, if your case is dismissed, trustee keeps the money regardless. Not all the money, just his 10%.
Okay.
So like, you paid for 2 years, but you couldn't pay anymore, your case gets dismissed, you get your money back, like if you didn't confirm it. So let's say you're applying for loan modification. While you're applying for loan modification, you have to make monthly payments to the trustee every single month. Let's say it went over for 2 years, case never got confirmed, but the trustee is holding $100,000. Trustee has to return the money back to you minus 10%. But in other circuits, they have to return everything to you, like even without the 10%. So I think whatever circuit Colorado is in, they have to return everything to you. So someone might eventually file a lawsuit to try to, because there's a circuit split in this, whatever circuits are. So
And I would imagine trustees
Trustee, of course,
are more
wants to.
inclined to dismiss here then, since they're going to get their 10% anyway.
It depends on the district. So, the last thing I heard, so before the pandemic, the Eastern District had one of the lowest confirmation rates in the country, but the Southern District had one of the highest.
Because they had Judge Morris, who was just amazing, and then like she really worked hard with you to confirm. And then actually, the Southern District trustee is one of the trustees in the Eastern District now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, she's good.
Yeah, she is really good.
How many trustees are there?
Right now there are 2 in the Eastern District.
And
So there are
one in the Southern.
Okay, wow.
3 judges in Brooklyn and 3 judges in Central Islip. One trustee does 2 judges in Brooklyn, 1 in Central Islip, and the other way around, 1 in Brooklyn, 2 in Central Islip.
And how many? That doesn't seem like a lot of judges. How many bankruptcies are usually filed every year? I would think it's a lot.
Yeah, but a lot of them will just be like, if you're filing a 7 with no assets, you'll never see the judge. You'll just see the trustee, and then if the trustee says you're good and give you a discharge, you'll never see the judge.
45 days later, you're done. And actually, that's what you want. And that's honestly the mark of a good competent attorney. In a Chapter 7 case, if there's no big issue and you don't really need to see the judge, you don't want to see the judge. You want to make sure everything is done well on your petitions, all the documents are provided, so you can get in and you can get out as quickly as possible.